What secret have you never told your parents and won't tell? The lost heirloom ring. When I was 13, my grandmother passed away and left each woman in the family a valuable ring from her collection. My ring was a bit too loose on my finger, and my parents told me not to wear it outside. But I didn't listen, and within a month after her funeral, I lost it. Sometimes my mom asks if I still have it. I always answer, yeah, it's in a box in one of my drawers. I don't wear it because I'm afraid to lose it. But the truth is, it's been gone for years. The soccer trophy incident. When I was about 10 or 12, I had a tantrum and threw my soccer trophy at my bedroom door, leaving a hole. I covered it with a bumper sticker of my favorite team. I'm 28 now. The hole is still there, and nobody knows. Fake trip to Spain, real month in jail. The month I supposedly spent studying in Spain? Actually, I was serving a month in jail for DUI. My friends helped me keep up the facade by posting fake updates on Instagram. My parents still don't know a thing. Rage after losing at video games. I once lost an online UFC match and, in anger, kicked a hole in my bedroom door. To explain the damage, I told my dad it was because a girl had called me, claiming she was pregnant. Truth is, I hadn't talked to her for months. I was just embarrassed to admit it was all over a video game. Lost in the woods. I once got lost in the woods during a hike and had to call the police to rescue me. With my phone battery almost dead, I texted my parents that I was staying at a friend's place. I got home at 5 a.m. They never knew I was in real trouble. Surprise fatherhood. When I was 16, I had a fling with an American girl while vacationing in Mexico. Years went by, and 2 years ago, out of the blue, she messaged me saying she'd had my son. I haven't told my parents. Not until I have solid proof, and maybe not even then. It's been 9 years since, and they don't know they might have a grandson. Stolen earrings for a gift. In third grade, I stole my mom's earrings to give them to a girl I liked. She never found out what happened to them. Skipping college for months. I was supposed to be in college studying to become a translator, but I hated all the classes. I started skipping for 4 months, just riding the bus back and forth and reading by the river instead. My parents still believe I was studious all that time. Shot myself by accident. At age 8, I accidentally shot myself in the leg while fooling around with a cousin's pistol. I bandaged it up myself and have carried a piece of the bullet in my leg for 20 years. No one in my family ever knew what really happened. My dog ate my edibles. One time my dog got into my weed-laced cookies and got really sick. My mom thought a neighbor tried to poison him by tossing something over the fence. In reality, the dog just stole my Friday night treat. Covering up a broken console. Out of spite, I broke the HDMI port on my brother's PS3. My parents bought him a new one, and later I secretly bought the broken one, fixed it cheaply, and still feel guilty about it today. Family drama, sister's boyfriend. My sister dated an abusive guy. After learning about it, I tried to scare him off, but my dad got there first and beat him up. Together, we cleaned up the apartment, and my sister only ever heard the guy dumped her suddenly. She never knew my dad intervened. The fence fire. At 14, I set the fence on fire while trying to put out a cigarette. I told my parents it somehow caught fire and that I heroically helped put it out. They praised me for my actions. Stealing Dad's car. I once took my dad's car for a joyride before I was old enough to drive. He never found out. Smoking and the morning dash. When I was 18, I got super stoned and stayed up all night. The next morning, I took my dad's car back to my place without asking, fell asleep, and was almost caught when he came by to visit unexpectedly. I managed to avoid him and return the car before he noticed. The brown Q-tip mystery. My mom once found some Q-tips stained brownish red in the shower, got furious, and interrogated everyone at home. I stayed silent, but it was actually from me cleaning a small pimple or blood in my ear. Getting busted for driving without a license? When I was 17, a court stripped me of my driver's license for 4 years. My parents were actually aware of this, but they never found out about the other times I took cars out before I was even old enough to drive. The early morning car swap. At 18, living in an apartment 15 kilometers from my parents, I decided one morning to go pick up my car from their garage. But after staying up all night getting high, I left at 6 a.m., only to discover my dad had taken my car to work and left his car at home. I took his car, went home to shower, but was so exhausted I passed out. He later showed up unannounced, bringing me something I'd asked for. Panicked, I avoided him, snuck off to return his car, and managed to switch everything back without him ever suspecting. Outrunning my dad in his own car. Once I took my dad's car without consent and nearly got caught when he appeared at my apartment. I called him with a made-up reason to check his trunk, which gave me just enough time to speed by the only intersection where we might have met. By the time he returned home, The car was back in place. He never found out. The family secret with the sister's boyfriend. My sister was in a relationship with an abusive guy. After hearing about it from her friend, I confronted my sister, but she denied it. That same night, my dad took matters into his own hands and beat the guy up pretty badly with a coffee mug. We helped him clean up the apartment, and my sister never knew what really happened. She thought her boyfriend just decided to leave her out of the blue. The Friday night stoning incident. After a night of getting high, I decided to skip sleep and head to my parents' to grab my car. Unable to find it, I ended up taking my dad's and fell asleep back at my place. He showed up at my door late that afternoon, but by acting quickly, I avoided being caught. Why I don't share things with my parents anymore. Lately, I don't share anything with my parents because every time I do, they give unwanted advice or criticize me, even when I've told them how much it bothers me. Now, when they ask questions, I just don't answer. The annoying habit of parental criticism. I stopped telling my parents anything because whenever I did share something, they would respond with unwanted advice or harsh judgment. Even after making it clear how much this annoyed me, their attitude didn't change. Now, if they ask about anything, I simply don't answer. The mystery of the dirty Q-tips. My mom once found several used Q-tips in the shower with some brownish red stains, became furious, and questioned everyone in the house. For some reason, it really set her off. I realized later that the Q-tips were mine. I had used them to clean a pimple or something similar in my ear. The stains were just dried blood, but I never dared to admit it, and I still haven't told her even now, decades later. Family history of accidentally shooting oneself. When I was a kid, I once accidentally shot myself in the leg. To make matters more surreal, my father had also accidentally shot himself in the leg as a teen, and a random guy once shot him with a shotgun when he was 9. The bullet fragments from my childhood injury are still in my leg. A doctor said it wasn't worth the risk removing them, and they're now impossible to detect with a metal detector. This odd family tradition of mishaps has always been kept from everyone else. Playing with fire. My cousin and I used to play with fire behind his garage, making makeshift flamethrowers from aerosol cans like WD-40. Miraculously, nothing ever exploded in our hands, and the adults never found out about our reckless experiments. The dog and the edibles. One Friday, I left some cannabis-laced cookies unattended, and my dog ate them all. He got really sick, and my mom assumed a neighbor had tried to poison him by tossing something over the fence. The truth is, my dog had just stolen my snacks. Family mishaps with guns. Turns out, accidentally shooting oneself kind of runs in the family. My dad was once shot in the leg as a child by some crazed person with a shotgun. Then as a teenager, he accidentally shot his own leg too. During that accident, he had to carry his younger brother, who had fainted from the sight of blood, back through the bushes to safety, all while bleeding. I learned about these mishaps only much later. We never talked about them, but it always felt like a strange family legacy. Hiding the pain and the truth. My childhood gun injury wasn't just a physical wound. For years, I patched it up myself and carried the burden of what happened, keeping it from everyone. Even now, bits of metal are still in my leg, and only a doctor who treated me as a teenager ever found out. The rest of my family still has no idea. Breaking and entering. Kinda. After a night of bad decisions or just being out of it, I'd sometimes find creative ways to sneak in and out of home without alerting my family. Whether it involved returning a car without being caught or making up stories about where I was, I always managed to cover my tracks. Looking back, I'm amazed none of them ever figured it out. The accidental arsonist. I set the backyard fence on fire as a teenager, but managed to heroically help put it out, earning praise for my quick thinking. They still don't know I started it in the first place, all thanks to a poorly discarded cigarette. Sibling shenanigans. I once sabotaged my brother's game console out of spite. When my parents bought him a new one and tossed the broken console aside, I later quietly bought it, fixed it cheaply, and kept it for myself. I still feel a little guilty, but I never confessed.